So it's no secret on this channel that the Finger Lakes region is the best kept secret in the United States, in our opinion, right? Anyone who lives here, we all believe that. Whether it's the breathtaking scenery or the recreational opportunities or the community atmosphere, the Finger Lakes region is unparalleled with all of those things. But there are a few cons as well. And so in this video, I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of the lake life and living in the Finger Lakes region. So if that's something you're into, stick around. That being said, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. As much as I love making these videos for you on all things Finger Lakes living, I would love even more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number and that email, it's popping up on the bottom of your screen. I'm the guy that answers those texts, emails, and phone calls. Definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And without further ado, guys, the first pro we're going to be talking about is the breathtaking scenery that residents of the Finger Lakes get to enjoy. You know, just going between the rolling hills and the lush colors of the forest and the woods, and as corny as it sounds, you can't beat it. You know, studies show that people who live near or on the water are actually, they tend to be happier than those who don't or who are further away from the water. And I wholeheartedly believe that to be true. You know, the studies mention something about just chemistry in your body changing, like something changing molecularly, I guess. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, but I believe it. Whatever the science says on it, I believe it. You can't go to the lake and not be happy. You can't go out on your boat on these lakes with the surrounding beauty and not be happy. Yeah, you know, it might sound a little bit materialistic or something, but it's true. When you're surrounded by the nature that we have here, you know, the Finger Lakes aren't surrounded by big cities. We have these small little towns, Canandaigua, Skaneateles, Geneva, Canisius, like these small little towns, and you know, they've maintained green space and there's no big skyscrapers or anything like that. Like, just the beauty of the area is unparalleled. And when you get here, in fact, when you know, I get people moving from all over the country from this channel that call in, and when they first get here, they're like, this is easily one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life, right? They're moving from a major metro, you know, call it like San Diego, or call it Phoenix, Arizona, or really any of these other places. They say that this is one of the more beautiful places they've ever seen in their life, primarily because the rolling hills and the colors and the waterways and just everything is so nature-based, and it's just amazing. When you get here, you can feel the difference, and in my opinion, that really matters. Rolling right into number two is the recreational opportunities that you get when you live in the Finger Lakes. Everything from off-road sports, right, like four-wheeling, dirt biking, etc., snowmobiling, even in the wintertime, to boating. So obviously with the Finger Lakes, the lakes being the primary staple of the Finger Lakes, you get boating, and so you get speed boats, pontoon boats, you know, other party boats with slides and stuff. During all the summer holidays, all the boats will link up to each other, and they hang out, they play music, and everybody has fun. And I know Canandaigua Lake, we have a sandbar, so the water will only go up to about your chest or whatever, depending on how tall you are, of course. But everybody goes and hangs out in the water, and you know, they're having drinks and they're having fun, and everybody's being safe. You know, the Marine sheriffs are out there and making sure everybody's like abiding by the law and doing the whole thing, you know, and being safe. But everyone goes out with their families and they have fun. And, you know, they go out and they barbecue on the boat or do whatever. And there's also, I know on Canandaigua Lake, I think Seneca Lake and Keuka Lake as well, they have a little boat that comes around and they have hot dogs and burgers that you can buy. So it's like a little food boat, you know, similar to a food truck, but it's a food boat, and it just kind of goes along the lake, and people will stop up to it. They'll kind of shack up, and then they pay for their food and go off with a fresh hot dog, and it's really kind of cool. And so, you know, you can't run out of recreational activities when you're on the Finger Lakes. And that's not even to mention all the wineries and breweries and going and, you know, doing that kind of thing, and stopping off at the restaurants and hotels and Airbnbs that we have lining all of the lakes. It's just It's an amazing time, and particularly if you're a homeowner on the lake, or you have one of the docks over at Seager Marina or Sutter's. You can dock your boat up, and you know, you can pretty much grab your boat and go whenever you want, which is amazing. You can jet ski, you can wake skate, you can wakeboard, you can water ski, you can tube with the kids, or you know, whatever. It's an amazing time. Everybody here loves going to the lakes, and what I'll say is that the lakes attract a lot of tourism, and so people will travel from all over the country just to go on the lakes and just to experience this kind of life, because you know, it is very different than how a lot of other areas live, and it's just amazing. You really can't go wrong with it. And then hopping into pro number 3 is the community atmosphere. So I know here in Canandaigua, in Keuka and Seneca specifically, if you live on the lake, there are a lot of these communities where it's, you know, essentially private drives that go down and they line the lake. And so all of these houses, they're all neighbors. You know, they're all, you know, all the houses are anywhere from $1 million to a couple $1 million, but they're all neighbors, and they're all, you know, they share the drive, and there might be like a community pickleball court type thing over there, and you know, everybody keeps to themselves, but they also know each other too. And what I've noticed around these communities is that those folks, they will go on walks and they pass by each other and they spark up conversation, and it's not like they're doing this kind of thing where they're trying to hide from their neighbor, right? They're actually embracing them and they're greeting them. And I've said it many times on the channel before that we know Buffalo as the city of friendly neighbors, and then Rochester being city of friendly neighbors 2.0, but the Finger Lakes, I'd say, is also a 2.0, where everybody is friendly. And even in these like ultra wealthy communities where maybe a lot of people who aren't used to that kind of thing might turn their nose up, or they think that these people might be snobby or whatever, they're all super friendly. They're all super, they will embrace you, and you know, they're living on the lake. Like I said before, they're happy. Like they're happy. They got the water right there in their backyard, and they recognize the opportunity that they have been afforded so far, and you know, they like sharing that with other people. And so this community atmosphere, particularly on the lakeside, but even a short drive like into the city limits of any of these towns on the lake, is just amazing. People willing to embrace you, people willing to accept you, people from all walks of life. And it's just an amazing thing. You know, if you're moving here, you will 100% feel welcome no matter what community you're living in. So that was a quick down and dirty of the pros of living in the Finger Lakes, or on the Finger Lakes. Rolling right into the cons of this. Number 1 is going to be the increased cost of living. Now, we already know, right? We already know that if you're living on the lake, tend to have a bit more money. Any of these properties are gonna, you know, really, you can look at a little cottage for maybe like $500,000. There's some cottages that might be like $250,000. You might need to do a little bit of work to those to get them like into a livable condition. However, a majority of your houses are going to be anywhere from, you know, $5 to $750,000 all the way up to about $5 million. And now we're seeing prices go up so much because people do want to live here. And so a lot of these lake houses, they're just top-end luxury. Everything in the house, it's top-end luxury. And I'm going to show you guys some clips here of some of the finest houses on Canandaigua Lake, as well as, you know, Skinny Atlas has some record-setting sales as well. And so there is top-end luxury there. That being said, though, living on the lake, you know, we already know that New York State has excessive taxes. We have quite a bit of taxes here in New York State for property tax and school tax. But on top of that, if you're living on the lake, you're also going to have an added lake tax too, as well as maintenance fees and things like that. So, you know, it gets significant if you want to live on the lake. So not only do you get the taxes, but then you also get hit by the additional lake charges too. So it's pretty significant when you look at that. So just factor that in. You're not just paying for the house, you know, your $1 million, $2 million, $3 million house. You're also paying taxes on the lake and the property and school taxes too. So it does get a little bit more pricey, so just make sure that you're prepared for that. Con number 2, we're gonna be talking about the tourist traffic that the Finger Lakes region provides, or you know, inevitably there is tourist traffic, right? So because we get over 1 million people a year just in tourism coming to the Finger Lakes region, if you're living on the lake, you're going to be susceptible to that. You're just going to be, you know, people will be wanting to look at your house from the water. Nothing crazy. Nobody is going right up to your dock. No one's going right up to your beach or anything like that. Nobody's invading your privacy per se, but you will be getting a lot of people riding on their boats and, you know, idolizing your houses in awe, right? Like, they'll be looking at your house and they'll be just kind of enamored by it, if you will. And you know, I know some people who don't mind that kind of thing, right? They appreciate that people appreciate the space that they made or they created or they live in. You know, that being said though, I also know people who just, they want their privacy. They want people to just, you know, ignore them and treat them like normal people too. So it goes both ways, but that being said, you will get the tourist traffic. Aside from that, you might get people, or you might get more traffic on the streets, right? So normally when we're talking about lake living, we're talking about like a single road, so or private drive. So there might be an increased amount of cars on the road, particularly if there's some road construction going on or something. You might be backed up a little bit. So, you know, all that to say, the tourist traffic does come in. It does come in heavy, especially during concert season. And you can tell. So if you're just living on the lake, expect that people will be looking at your house. They will be enamored by, you know, seeing your house. Maybe they've never seen some. I know I was one of them as a kid, right? Growing up there, we didn't have much. So when we were trying to forecast in the future and, you know, manifest our dreams and stuff, like, we were looking at the houses on the lake. That's what we did. And so a lot of people are still doing that. A lot of people like to ride on their boat and go look at the houses from the water, because it's amazing. They're beautiful houses. So they like to do that. But just be cognizant that, you know, hey, these things are happening. They do happen. So just know that if you're out by your pool or whatever, if you're out on your dock, there's going to be looky-loos kind of driving by. Last but not least, the third con of Finger Lakes lake living is going to be ongoing maintenance challenges, right? Not necessarily with your house, but things specifically that are like water-related tasks, right? So dock upkeep, shoreline erosion, right? And then ongoing water maintenance kind of related tasks. So these are things that you're not going to necessarily get if you're living inland or you're living away from the water, right? These are things that are very specific to living on the lake. I know a lot of the time it's going to be, seagull cleanup. So a lot of seagulls will go and they'll poop on a lot of these properties for some reason, just because it's, you know, on the lake or whatever. And that's an additional thing. Obviously there's birds everywhere else, but it seems to be a lot more complaints coming around lake house owners. For some reason, I don't know, but the seagulls love those properties. That being said, and if you have a break wall by your house, or if you've installed a break wall, you know, things like that, maintaining the break wall will be important. So therefore, you know, water doesn't get up on your property where it's not supposed to be. If the lake level rises at all, or, you know, so things like that, things that you're not going to encounter if you're inland, if you're away from the water. These are things that are unique to being on the water, and things that, you know, require time, effort, resources, and, you know, money. These are things you're most likely going to want to hire out. And, you know, it's not likely that it'll be burdensome to you, other than spending money and resources on it by hiring it out, because most of the time that's what you're going to do anyway. That's what most people do. But most people would like to keep that money, you know, so it doesn't matter how much you have, you'd rather keep that money than have to spend it. So that would be the third con, is just the maintenance challenges in general that you're going to encounter with a lake specific plot of or property, I should say. So that being said, guys, those are the 3 pros and 3 cons of living on the lake in the Finger Lakes region. Hope you got something from this. If you're looking into any lake properties, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to answer your questions and help you out. The information there on the screen, I'm the guy that answers those texts, emails, and phone calls. Definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Until the next video, guys, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.